Voltron Network.
So, shall we begin?
You are now tuned into Talking at the Movies with your hosts, Eddie, Salim, and Mo.
Alive. What's good, guys?
25 is alive.
Cutting me off. What's good, guys? Welcome back to Talking at the Movies. I'm Eddie Reese Antonio.
And it's Mo.
Salim sadly isn't with us. Apparently he had something better to do. Lack of dedication, Mo. What's going on?
Absolutely. She's literally like, can't leave the house but can't be asked to join the call.
I know, we're in quarantine. What else is he doing?
You know what he's doing? He's probably watching, like, Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, don't even say that. Don't even joke around. Come on.
Man, this thing is just getting stranger and stranger as the weeks, like, tick on. I'm just, literally, today was my first day back at work after a week off. And even though, like, I've not been able to leave home other than A, going out for groceries, and B, I've started running again. So, like, 4-mile runs at a time, because you just have to. Because you just eat and you sit and your shoulders start aching, you're fat. I don't know if you've got to that point.
Not my shoulders, but yeah, I got to start running, man. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I just can't.
You just have to. Thursday morning, I woke up, man, my shoulder was in so much pain, and I was just like, I don't know what it is. It's just the lack of exercise,
it's
right?
your posture, man. It's got to be your posture, man. Because why else would your shoulders be hurting? You must be slouched over that keyboard.
Yeah, well, it's slouching over the keyboard, and it's the way you sleep, and all those sort of things. And sitting is like a terrible thing for a human. Like, the body's not designed to sit. You've got to do it. You've got to keep that body like going, man. You've got to build up that lung capacity in case it comes for you.
That is true. That too.
But you know what was mad? I went for a run on, I think it was, the first run I went for, I think it was Good Friday.
When there's tons of people outside.
Mate, I was surprised by the amount of boys in groups just walking around. Young kids just fighting on the streets. Like, one of them, like, pushed another one right in front of me, and I felt like shouting, 2 meters, but couldn't be asked. And then I ran past the park, and there were just kids in there playing football.
What is it's the parents, like, what the fuck? When they say, oh, mom, I'm going out, like, no, sit your ass down or we're locking you in the freaking basement. What the?
Exactly.
I just don't. Something like, you just feel like it's cold-blooded to say it, but you just have to feel that some people deserve this shit. They take it home. They deserve it.
I think the police should just be out there shooting people at this point, really, shouldn't they?
Really? They should be. You know those water tanks that come out for riots? Where are they?
No. I'm talking about actual bullets, right? Because essentially,
why not?
These guys are committing murder, right?
Why not?
Potentially all of them are a murderer.
Isn't it? Back of the head.
Yeah.
Just left there on the pavement, just so everyone can see what happened.
Yeah, this is what happens if you go out on a sunny day and play football in the park.
Yeah, you see clusters of bodies, and you see this is not what you want to do.
Exactly. Be an example.
Yeah.
You need a few of those.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. I don't get it, man. Fucking dumb. This shit ain't ever gonna end at this rate.
Well, apparently they're going to have a review in 3 weeks, aren't they? So you've seen, like, on the news that some of the other countries now in Europe are starting to ease some of their restrictions.
Yeah.
But it's really difficult for me to fathom what's going to happen, like, once we go back to normal, right? Surely this thing, it needs hosts to, like, continue to breed, and we go out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the idea is just the fact that they've managed to put up these, like, temp hospitals and get more ventilators, so basically get more prepared. I guess that's the idea.
I guess possibly, because we even at our peak yet as far as people that are dying every day.
So they think that's going to happen this week, right? And when you look, if you remember the last time you were at my place, that must have been about a month ago, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember? It was like, we said, yesterday it was 11 people, today it's 51 or something.
Yeah.
Mate, I looked this morning, it was like 13,000 people.
Not in one day.
Not in one day, but like from in that 1 month period.
It's crazy, boy. It's crazy. What Trump saying May the 1st? What? Back to normal? You crazy?
Yeah, but like 2 weeks ago he was saying Easter.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Eagles keep saying.
They don't care. You heard with the whole WWE thing. How they're considered an essential business now. That's the reason how they can keep putting on shows.
Well, isn't that because he got all the sports owners together and says, I want you to keep playing your game?
This is true, but what happened is they were ordered by the authorities in Florida to stop doing their weekly shows, Raw and SmackDown, like live. Yep. And then in the same week that they got the go-ahead, mysteriously, Linda McMahon, she has like a super PAC. Suddenly, the guy who's the governor of Florida got a $13 million donation in the same week that they suddenly got the thumbs up to continue doing their shows live every week.
Oh.
Disgraceful, man.
Money can just buy you anything in certain places. Yeah, it's going to be a tough market because I guess the other thing that we need to worry about, right, is once we're over this, the whole sort of the economy and all of that is going to be completely rhubarb. But we actually might be in a position where we're now allowed to go out, we just fucking can't afford to go out.
No. Like everything could double in price.
Yeah, double in price, and then there's all those things. I've like seen all the list of shops and chains that are like filing for bankruptcy, right? So we've got apparently Carluccio's in his administration, and there was I can't remember. I saw another one on the news, and you're just going to see these one after the other, aren't you?
It's like a Carluccio's.
Sorry,
what's Carluccio's?
It's like a fancy Italian chain restaurant.
Oh, of course I don't know what that is. I'm scum. If it's anything that's above Morley's, I have no idea.
Oh, and I committed what might be the ultimate sin the other day, right? Because I went to grocery shopping and I walked by one of those like Pepe chicken places, and it was open. It's like the only fast food place in Ealing that seems to be open in the high street, because everything else is shut. And I went in, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gagging for like some fried chicken and some like proper fried chips. And I just put aside the thought that somebody with COVID could be making it.
I know. You just rolled the dice, or fuck it, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I did. I did it again last night. I ordered a Five Guys, right? And right at the top of the app, they tell you it's all contactless delivery. Bullshit. The guy walks straight. So I go downstairs to make sure I'm there before him. He gets there and he walks straight out and he hands it to me. And I just like shocked.
Do you have gloves on at least?
No gloves.
What
like some human basically walked within arm length of me.
So, man, what have you been watching in the last 7 days?
You know what? I have been watching quite a bit of films for a change. It's a bit of a shame that Salim's not on here because I was going to talk about a Jackie Chan movie that I watched at the weekend.
Go for it.
And I've got a feeling that neither of you two have probably ever seen this one. And it's called...
I'll take the Pepsi chance against that. Go on.
Crime Story.
Yes, this was the one where he tried to go back to doing serious films.
So this is based on a true story.
Yeah,
and it is very serious. And you know what? I really enjoyed this film. There's none of the normal Jackie Chan sort of comedy stuff. There's like very fleeting moments.
Yeah.
Like very, very fleeting moments. But other than that, it's a proper serious film.
It's pretty vague in my memory. It was a long time ago since I saw it. It wasn't one of, because it didn't have all the action in it. It's one of the ones which I never really did a rewatch of. But I think there's only like one big set piece in it when he falls down some like shaft or tunnel or something.
Yeah. That's the big. There are a couple of other ones. There's like the big fight scene at the end where he takes on like the mobsters and stuff. You're right. It's not an action film, but what it really reminded me of was like Hong Kong sort of thrillers.
Yeah. And
it really made me think, man, I really would love to have seen, and I know there is one from the 70s, but like a proper John Woo in his prime with Jackie Chan like being all serious. That could have been an interesting film.
This is the question though. When it comes to serious drama acting, is Jackie Chan any good compared to Chow Yun-fat when it comes to doing a John Woo film? Because Chow Yun-fat fits that perfectly.
Chow Yun-fat does.
Jackie's got the big head.
Yeah, so the thing is with Jackie, when you look at him, you expect him to do funny stuff.
Yeah,
but he really sold it in this film, man. I could believe that like the only thing he wanted to do was try and get this dude back alive, and catch up with the criminals.
the one that's worth revisiting, you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's like so. Like the last couple of weeks, I've seen very un-Jackie Chan-like films, and I haven't really enjoyed them. Like The Protector's been interesting. Miracles wasn't really my cup of tea. This again was very different, but I really enjoyed it because I like the cat and mouse between the two leads, because obviously Jackie's the one lead, and the other guy, he's like he's a cop, but he's a dirty cop, and he's involved.
With these these Blu-ray re-releases that you've been getting, have they been doing that to John Woo yet? It's crazy.
So the thing with John Woo, apparently the company that owns the rights to all like his big films like Hard Boiled and The Killers and all
Golden
that
Harvest.
Stuff. No, it's not Golden Harvest. They apparently have no interest in licensing those movies out for release on home video. Like this 88 Films and Eureka apparently have tried and they've been turned down. I read a rumor apparently like some collectors or something had bought the prints and they keep them in a personal collection, and I'm just not interested.
Bastards.
It's terrible. It literally, it's not even like, there are some Chan movies that we might never see like in HD because they're owned by like Disney, who got them because they bought like Dimension Films.
Yeah.
Right? So they have no interest in doing it themselves, but they might potentially license them out to another company should they wish to do it.
This is the problem with that weird structure that China had. Like, it was such a slash and grab industry, especially in the 90s. It's just a mess. Like, all these different prints of these films all over the place. Some people have them in private collection. I know friggin' Tarantino's got a bunch of original prints in his collection of Kung Fu movies from Shaw Brothers, which probably you'll never see the light of day. RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan's got a bunch of his own.
Well, the thing with Tarantino, though, is he owns his own cinema, and you can buy a ticket to go and watch films in his cinema.
We can't.
Who can't?
We can't.
Oh no, we can. If we were in the States, we can go.
Yeah,
apparently, he does public showing.
Yeah, but we're not. We're all over here in London, stuck.
Yeah, but he owns the print, not like the rights to the movie.
Still.
I mean, apparently you can buy prints, right? It's a thing you can do. Collectors do them.
It's a mess. It's a freaking mess.
But very, very good film. And the restoration, again, what they're doing to these films are absolutely fantastic. Again, it just looks so beautiful.
So would you rate it?
I would give that a 3.5. It's not one of those ones where, if you said, let's watch a Jackie Chan movie, it's not one that would come to the top of my list. But it would be an interesting one to watch if you've never seen it, or B, you've completely forgotten about it. Because it is a very different Chan movie.
Jackie Chan Crime Story. You remember what year this was at?
Yes, this was 93.
Oh, real early. Okay.
And you know what? Watching all of these films, I don't know about you, but watching all these films that are set like in the 80s, the 90s, even like the 2000s, I keep watching them, right, thinking, man, if I had you're watching people outside enjoying the good weather and all this sort of stuff, and I'm like, man, if I had a time machine, I go back there, right where they are now, and tell them, in the year 2020, you'll all be stuck inside because you can't go outside because of a disease. No one would fucking believe me.
It's true, man. It's true. Never predict this shit. No. All right. What else?
So I finished off the classic Trek movies, The Undiscovered Country. Absolutely phenomenally fantastic film.
Didn't you watch that one last week? This is the one with the whales in that.
No, I watched The Final Frontier, which is the one where God is trying to acquire a starship. God. Do you remember that scene where William Shatner goes, excuse me, what does God need with a starship? The best line in all of Star Trek. The way he just delivers it. Absolutely fantastic. So The Undiscovered Country is the final Trek movie with the original cast. And you know what? Up until this watch, I've never really clocked on, and I still didn't clock on until I watched the special features on the disc. The whole movie is an allegory for the fall of the wall and communism. Like, you basically got the Klingons who are desperate to align themselves with the Federation, dismantle the neutral zone because they don't think they can survive on their own any longer. And basically you've got like this whole Cold War that's coming to an end. And you've got these two sides that have not been at war, but a Cold War, like the Americans and the Russians. And it's finding out, basically accepting each other and finding a common ground so you can work together to build a better future. And I was like, I never really got that. But now that I think about it, that's what that film is about.
And does it actually work as a theme?
Work as in, oh yeah, absolutely, right? Because that's what Trek, the best kind of Treks do. They basically take like things from like the world around you and present it like in a sci-fi setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does this rank then amongst the Trekkie movies? Is it high? Is it low?
This is right up there. So this would be like potentially joint first place with the Wrath of Khan.
Really? I've never heard people speak on this that highly.
What? The Undiscovered Country. This is the two that divide most people. You either love the Wrath of Khan or you love the Undiscovered Country.
So I only ever hear praise given to Wrath of Khan. The rest kind of get thrown in the trash.
No, I think you need to. I think Wrath of Khan is the one that's probably a better film, but this one is just so good, and it also has like that final like montage, and that the camera pans out while it has the crew on the bridge going off on like their next adventure, knowing that this is like the final time you'll see them.
Which is your crew? You're more Next Generation, though, isn't it?
No, I started watching. So my very very first Trek movie I ever saw was Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. So I very much love the old crew just as much as I love the new crews. Obviously, Deep Space Nine is like my Star Trek jam.
That's your one, okay.
That's my jam. But I mean, I can sit there and watch any single one of the crews.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Did you watch Richard Jewell?
I did.
All right, Richard. Say into this phone. There's a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
Richard, you're a national hero now.
You always look at who found the bomb, just like you always look at who found the body. This might be the only way to clear your name. Say, there's a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
His accusers are two of the most powerful forces in the world, the government and the media.
I do want to help y'all. I'm law enforcement, too. There is a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
Did he do it? My son saved people's lives. I report the facts.
You've ruined this man's life.
There is a bomb in Centennial Park. You have 30 minutes.
You set that bomb.
I think your client is guilty as hell.
They want to fry you.
You ready to start fighting back?
Richard Jewell. In theaters December 13th.
I did.
What did you think of it?
I thought it swayed quite a bit. Like, overall, I found it an engaging story. Like, the story of what happened, I found engaging. But I was thinking, maybe this would have been better in a documentary than in a movie, because I think the pace sometimes was a bit off. It seemed to...
Really?
Yeah, for me, I felt like it just seemed... It's hard to gauge. I noticed this with a lot of... what's his name? Clint Eastwood's most recent movies. They seem to have this weird flat pace. I can't really put my finger on how to explain it or articulate it, but it always feels weird to me watching. And I feel like things happen where I feel like a little bit of space, a moment of space has passed that they've kind of glazed over, which I would have wanted to get more into. And I don't know, it's just a bit weird for me.
Really? I thought, it's quite a short film, because I think it's just under 2 hours. And I was absolutely glued to the screen. I found that
the story is engaging.
Walter Hauser, his performance as like this guy,
he was really good.
They don't ever really say it, but you think that he's obviously kind of like mentally challenged a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought his portrayal of like the character was just fantastic. Obviously, I don't know what the real guy was like, but he really was like. He went above and beyond like what most actors would do. Well, even in that
stuff, they did leapfrog over a number of years without you really kind of getting it. It never had like usually in movies they have that little bit of writing that comes up in the corner of the screen or something 2 years later. They wouldn't do that. They would just kind of just jump in, and you'd have to kind of gather that such and such years has passed, and he's had these other, like the whole thing of him being a police officer.
Well, that was like right at the end, right? Once like it obviously.
No. He was a police officer before that, because he had the photo up on the wall, and they skipped over those years of him achieving that.
But they tell you that during the story, don't they? Like he got fired for.
But the pace of it was weird, because he went from working in that, being a security guard in that office, in the law firm thing, and it skipped over to him just being in the school, and it skipped over more time to him just jumping straight to being a security guard with the Olympics. It was just kind of a bit wishy-washy for me at the beginning.
The problem is, I think if you add too much stuff in, the pacing really starts to get it hurts. For all we know, it was there and it just didn't play very well. I thought like the movie just chugged along at such a rate. But I think it would have been
good, besides the high school thing of him having that issues of him getting kicked out there and having that face to face with the the principal, where he thought he was going to get praise, but they ended up firing him. It would have been nice to get a little more stuff to kind of show his goofy character, because he was an idiot.
But you kind of get that during the course of the movie, right? You suddenly realise that he's not only is he not all there, but he's also he doesn't know what's best for him. Even when his lawyer says, "Do not say a word, I do the talking,"
I know.
He's like there rabbiting away.
I know, and it's scary to think that even after all of that, he still actually became a fucking police officer with a gun and everything.
What's even worse is that there are FBI agents out there that, with all their resources and all the stuff that they could have been looking at to find the real bomber, it led them to that, right? Because
does that surprise you really, though? With all the injustices that you always hear about? Come on.
So you would think, or I would like to think, that if you essentially make it into the FBI, right, you are the best of the best. You've gone through like some rigorous testing, some psychoanalysis and all that sort of stuff, right? You want to catch criminals. You are tooled with catching criminals.
No. They have quotas they need to reach, and they just don't care how they reach them. They're willing to cut corners.
You know what? That's what it came across like, right? They have a profile, and because this guy fit the profile, they figured, well, it must be him, right? No evidence, no actually like finding anything other than like some circumstantial evidence, right? The fact that he might have been fired from a job, he might have said some nutty things. It's just unbelievable. He never really helped himself, right?
He was a dumbass.
Search the house and they go, "Have you got any guns?" He goes, "Put the guns down." And he's got like fucking an Uzi
that
and
was
stuff.
So fucking crazy. Just covered the bed. It's like, what the fuck? And the way he just kept saying, I know you have to, what you're doing, I'm in law enforcement too, we have to do what we have to do. Oh, just shut up, man. Just shut up.
Yeah. I did like his speech right at the end, right, where he's like, "Do you actually have any evidence?" Yeah. Like, when he finally, like, he'd had enough as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that the gall that agent said, even though we're like closing this case, I still think he's guilty.
Another thing that I thought was a misstep in a way, like from an audience perspective, it never really felt like we were on a, did he do it? Did he not do it? It kind of seemed right from the beginning that we knew that it wasn't him. So there wasn't that mystery for us.
Well, I guess I don't really remember the bombing. I have vague recollections of it, right? But it's not something that happened like, 70 odd years ago. It was huge news at the time. It was the Olympics, right? Yeah. That would have been wall to wall on the news, right? So Richard Jewell would have been on all the news for like months when that happened.
That's true, but you think, but from a storytelling perspective, like if they weren't going to do that, and if we were going to go in knowing that, okay, he did not do this, then wouldn't it have been interesting to show the flip side? Maybe show the guy who did do it. What was his story? Like, what the hell was going on there? Like, I would have not wanting to know more of that guy as well.
But it's in the title, isn't it? The movie is about Richard Jewell.
He still could have done it. He still could have been there. Didn't have to be a lot.
So, I kind of get what you're saying there, but I guess that would have detracted away from the fact that this story was just focusing on him, and the fact that the media had no evidence. And they essentially took a rumor or something from an FBI informant or like a chat at the bar, pillow talk, and turned it into this whole thing.
Yeah, and I wanted to see the comeuppance. I wanted to see what they thought of when it finally came out that it really wasn't him.
And I love that scene at the end where him and his lawyer, they both go into into like the news office, and he absolutely gives her a piece of
rips
of his
her ass.
mind.
I love that. That's funny.
Yeah. And then the fact that she's sitting there then watching Kathy Bates, his mother, her speech, and she's got a tear in her eye, right? Which she realizes what kind of a scum she actually is.
But then that's pretty much the end of that story with them. You don't really see their opinion of it. That's the thing that I'm saying. Those little things that kind of niggled me. Those loose ends that were kind of just left hanging.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I find if you try and fill in all the little bits, it just bloats the movie. I really liked this. It just flowed really well. You were with it for like just under 2 hours. Job done. And then you get that title card at the end to say that he literally, that last scene that he's in, like 4 or 5 years later, he died.
Yeah. Yeah. Even then, it's like, I guess you saw him having these like chest pains. Then that was kind of dropped, but then it kind of comes back with him dying at 2007, which...
I did wonder if at some point he was going to have a heart attack.
That's what I thought, yeah. But they kind of just didn't.
Yeah. I liked it. I think that was a 3.5-star movie.
Very good story. Yeah. There is a documentary out there, I believe, which might be worth looking at, because I think DiCaprio and Jonas did it together. So it might be worth hunting down just to see that twist and see if there's anything that they changed or embellished. You can't always trust Eastwood movies because, like, American Sniper, it's proven that was quite a lot of bullshit in that, so you never know.
And obviously all the other things I've been watching are the normal, like, Star Trek and Buffy and all that. But I have watched 4 out of the 5 Mission Impossible movies, which I believe we're going to do a bonus episode on once I finish the 5th movie.
Yeah, we'll try to sort out a Zoom thing and just have a retrospect on the series. We could try. That'd be nice.
Yep. What have you been watching?
Yo, where should I start, dude? I did it, went back, watched Future Man. And I didn't just watch...
You went back?
Yep, I didn't just watch number 3. I thought, fuck it, let me just do it. What I like to do, season 1. Because I realized that while I was watching it, there was episodes in season 1 which I'd missed for whatever reason.
Missed?
Yeah, for whatever reason, like the last maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
How do you miss the last 1 or 2 episodes?
I really don't know. I don't know. Maybe
sure
it's the app. I think it's the app that I was watching them on. For some reason, didn't play those ones.
I'm sure you must have, because we spoke about it at length.
I had no memory of those things that happened in the last 2 episodes.
Different. The fact that you got no memory doesn't mean you didn't watch them.
No, because it wasn't that long ago. I was literally sitting there thinking, I have not seen this. This is new information that I'm receiving.
It's been about 3.5 years or something.
That ain't long enough. I'm not an old man. Like, come on. And then I also realized that I stopped watching season 2 halfway because I didn't like it. I didn't like it originally. So I hadn't actually finished season 2.
Oh, season 2 finishes quite strong.
Yeah.
Compared to how it starts.
Yeah. So yeah, we went 1, 2, and right straight into 3, all the way.
So you powered through 2 then. Yeah,
I do feel that it kind of gradually does take a step down with each season. I still feel 2 is even better than 3. I didn't love it. Like season 1, Mo, when you go back and you see season 1, dude, the jokes, it's so much more the energy of the show. It's like a whole different writing team behind it.
Season 1.
It's not just the budget, it's just the writing. It's just so much better.
I think there must be something with the budget, right? Because season 1 looks like such a higher, bigger concept show than what 2 and 3 turned into, right? Like it's all on location. It's all like lavished with money. And then they really decided, like, season 2 and 3, like, we've really got to, like, drastically reduce the budget.
But it's the humor, though. It's the writing which really takes a downgrade compared to 1. Because 1, it's just so much more witty and so much more jokes, and it just hits you so much harder.
Oh, it's
2 and 3, it's just like, it's the downer half of it, man. Like when they were stuck in number 3 on that nowhere land.
In Haven.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is just not enjoyable. Like, it was a bit of a joke when he found out that he was sleeping with everybody.
I was going to say, you don't like the fact that he goes from, like, Marilyn Monroe, who gorgeous actress, and they got to do that, to Jesus, then to, I can't remember who it was.
James Dean, then he went to Jesus. Yeah, that was just like, that was kind of funny. But overall, just kind of dragged, like, what's the face out there with the goat meditating.
Oh yeah, that bit just went on for a little bit too long.
Like,
but
this is
but
not fun.
the Wolf man, he was on point the whole time.
But
Like the fact that he couldn't, like, imagine the sort of fuck up that he is, but he couldn't help but yet somehow galvanize everybody together, no matter what time period
it's true,
he's on.
it's true. And they all had different roles. But I actually wished it stayed with the Running Man concept that it began with. So I thought when it started doing that, I thought, oh, this is going to be a fun season. Then it kind of just didn't get into it. Just kind of glazed over all of that. I was like,
yeah,
oh.
I think that would have got quite boring to begin with. It went over like 10
Compared to what we got, it would have been so much better.
What I was going to say is, so I like the fact that right at the end they addressed the fact that, what was it? They go like, how come you come from a future where there is no technology, yet you managed to invent a video game and send it back in time? And what do you think about the end credits?
I was about to say that. Did you watch it into the credits? Based on the true story, then you find out that they whitewashed the whole show. That made me crack up.
It's brilliant.
That was actually the biggest laugh of that whole season for me when I saw that. I just cracked up.
I'm like watching it thinking, what fucking crackhead came up with this idea right at the end?
I laughed my head off when you see that. There was a Japanese chick and some black dude. You think, Jesus. That was a good ending. That was a good way to kind of put a full stop on it.
And even the actual ending itself was fairly satisfying, right?
Yeah.
Although I didn't quite understand it. The fact that why couldn't they travel to the future? Because they almost made it sound like time travel just wouldn't be a thing anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't want to question it. It's a better final than most shows get.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. But yeah, Future Man, 3 seasons.
Yep.
Started strong. Sadly didn't end that way, but still fun overall.
Yeah.
Still a lot of fun. Went back and watched The Incredibles. Pixar's Incredibles. Dude, they are way better movies than I remember them being. Like, I actually never watched the second one before. And that's actually a lot of fun. But the first one is so much more fun than I remember, man. It's just like, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. It's such a good show. Such a good film.
I remember going to cinema and being very disappointed.
I don't know how you could be, man. Watch it again.
Do I need to watch it again?
Watch it again. And what I also liked with the second one, that it literally picks up straight after the first one. So when you watch them in one go, in one sitting, it's literally just like watching one massive 4-hour movie. It literally takes up right when the last one finishes, which I loved.
Is this because you're like making use of your Disney Plus subscription?
That is true. But yeah, they are really fun films. Like way better, way more fun than I remember the first one being. Perfect Fantastic Four ones. It just gives you the template of how they can make those movies.
I've always wanted to go back and revisit The Incredibles because everyone seems to love it. Yeah, and I was like, okay, maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind when I watched it.
Yeah, what was going on, Mo? Tell me.
Well, I went to the cinema. This was like the year 2002 or 3 or something, right?
Any breakups, any losses of jobs, anything going on?
No.
Problems.
Have you never watched a film sometimes and just thought that's a rubbish film, and then you watch it again and you're like, my God, that was a really good film? I've done that many a time.
I guess it's possible.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Revisit Incredibles. That could be the one we can do after Mission Impossible.
I shall give it a whirl.
Yes. And I did it with all. I owe you an apology, Mo. And I would give one to Salem, but sadly he's not here. But I owe you both an apology. I watched the Ozark season 3.
Season 3. How quickly did you race through that?
One go.
One go.
Yep, one sitting.
What did you do? Start on a Friday morning or something, and
I don't even. What date? I think it was a Friday. Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was a Friday through to Saturday. Completely fucked up my sleep pattern.
Doesn't matter because you see what I mean when I say that might be contender for season of the year.
Could be. Still early.
Yeah, it's still very well. It's early.
Very early.
we might not get a lot of good stuff this year, right? Because
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
stuff that's
yeah,
going to come later in the year ain't going to happen.
That is possibly.
Give me the highlights. What did you think?
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Man, I should have had the cast list in front of me. The dude from what was the show? He was in Iron Fist.
He was in Iron Fist.
Yeah,
Ward
he
Beecham.
is such a damn good actor. Like I was realizing that while watching him, like dealing with portraying the bipolar mood swings and showing, and even back in Iron Fist though, he had like the madness in there. He's always so good.
He just watching like him start at somewhere resembling normal, being like this charming guy to Ruth, being like this great uncle, and then just watching him slowly slip into that sort of like descent into destruction.
Yeah, self-destruction, just his own worst enemy. Because literally, I was like halfway through the season, I remember seeing him just sitting there in the background of one of the scenes, eating breakfast or something, and I'm thinking, okay, this actor's fine and everything, but what is he doing here? Like, what is he adding to this show? Like, I don't get it. He's just doing nothing. And then finally, when he gets to the whole thing of him, when she confronts him in the basement, it's like, you stopped taking your medicine? Why are they in the toilet? And I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, because they never really explained that scene at
the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, but then as you watch the season, it all comes into like,
Yeah, and I started to think in my head, okay, this guy's good at going crazy because, yeah, he did that in Daredevil, did a little bit of it in Banshee as well when he was the Nazi cop.
Just the, and if anyone who's listening, obviously, you know, spoilers are coming, and we didn't say that last week, so you've probably already been spoiled. But just some of the finest drama I think I've seen on TV in years when you're watching Wendy and you suddenly realize she's going to have to make a choice.
Yeah, I did see that coming, that it was either she was just going to give him up or she was going to do it herself. But yeah, I did see that was going to be her only option.
Yeah. But
Ruth though, man.
Come to that.
Yeah, but Ruth though, how, like, even right at the very end, she never really clocked on to that he was really sick. It never really seemed to sink into her. That she seemed to think that he was fine, he was okay.
Because I guess she hadn't really seen, like Wendy was coming from a point where she's seen it many, many times growing up around him, whereas Ruth is just being told, this is what's going to happen.
Even with what little she saw, couldn't she see that this guy's fucked up?
Well,
this ain't normal behavior.
Think about where Ruth comes from. Think about what her father.
Yeah, they're all fucked.
You know what I mean?
It's natural.
Exactly. So her whole perception of what's normal about is probably very different from what like Wendy's is or yours and I's would be. She's probably willing, like she would get her father a hooker.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
True.
So she's, you know,
just a bad day.
Yeah,
he's just having a bad day.
Exactly.
And plus, she's in love with him, which you kind of led to believe as well that this could be the first time she's really had that.
Well, if you think about it, like the way that she acts all the time, like she always has this barrier around, right? She's always like the loudmouth, cocky, I can do anything, and he's like the first person that's really been like nice and kind to her.
Chiseled for it.
What about that scene between Arlene and Wyatt? You know the one where like she's pressing his shoulders and all of a sudden he turns around.
Oh shit, yeah. I was like, what? No, what are you doing, Wyatt? Get away. Why? You're supposed to be the intelligent one in that family. What are you doing?
Well, I was saying this to Simon last week, right? If you actually think about it logically, I can actually totally understand why. No, listen. She might be old, but listen, he's also come from like a real fucked up background. His cousin has just killed his father.
Yeah, but he's the intelligent one. He reads books. He knows what fucking crazy is. He has to.
But he's got like suddenly this woman is showing him attention, affection. She's like got a nice house. She's taking care of him. You can kind of maybe understand, like.
No, Mo, you can't spin this one. This was fucked up. This is crazy. No, he could have gone to college and everything, to uni. He could have had that good life. He chose. Oh.
Did you see the bit like where where his brother comes to dinner or something, and he clocks on to what's happening.
Oh god! So you gonna be sleeping in the cabin?
Brilliant.
No, I'm gonna be here in the house.
Just brilliant stuff, man.
Wendy, though, man, I truly hated her for most of that season, and I kind of felt, it's bad to say, but I kind of felt good that she started to crumble at the end. That she started to realize once the reality of some of her decisions really started to kind of sink in. That you can't just be a part of this life and it's just this easy thing that you can just breeze through. Like, there's consequences. You're in there with the fucking cartels. This ain't a joke.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I ever hated her. I felt like she was being naive. I felt like she was trying to sideline Marty a bit, who obviously is like the brains of the operation.
Exactly.
Who's obviously just so much better at seeing the big picture.
Appetite for destruction.
Yeah. But, like, obviously she'd been involved in politics before, right? So she obviously wanted to do something bigger and grander. But that scene where she goes to the stables and she phones Navarro, and Navarro just has that freak out at her, right? He goes, we're not partners. We are not equal. I own you.
Yep. I was like,
literally, can you imagine? Can you imagine being on the receiving end of that? You would absolutely shit yourself.
I would have never called him in the first place. You don't call the head of a cartel. What the fuck to complain? Jeez. But that really wasn't subtle of them to do what they did. Couldn't they have done that at night? Did they have to really go in there in the middle of the day?
Well, that's what these like cartel folks do, right? They used to just like bowling up in the middle of the day and shooting the place up, like they did with the truck.
So mad. But you know what may be my little surprise character that I actually really kind of grew to enjoy?
Yep.
It's what's her face's hitman, her little right hand, the cold Terminator dude they end up killing.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I really actually enjoyed him. I like that when he sat down with the psychiatrist. She was fucking idiot. She was a fucking idiot.
Oh, idiot. You know what I mean? Just
driving around in the McLaren.
Like, she's a psychiatrist, right? She knows I've already conned him out of like one batch of money. Like, common sense should be like, don't keep going back to the well.
Yeah, but the car, the bloody McLaren, yellow.
Yeah. Or the fact that they're both driving her.
Yeah.
that scene where they finally just put everything on the table. This functional family.
Oh god.
So we haven't even really spoken about Marty this whole conversation.
It's a weird one because again the pendulum swings. Most of the time I'm really on his side because he does seem to be the smartest guy in the room most of the time.
Yeah.
But he just does have this weird sort of cold way of dealing with shit. Like he should have taken care of Ruth a lot better. Like you
have to be cold. You have to.
It's true, but the thing,
can't get emotional.
But the thing is, he's so distant that it does make it easy for people to turn around and stab him in the back. Like I can't blame Ruth for walking away because.
What would you expect Marty to do in this situation?
Wow. This is true because I know that you're gonna start a war by killing that dude.
A war that he's not equipped to fight, right? He would then have to have Navarro come in, and that would just attract more attention.
This is it, but at least explain it. He just came across so cold. I don't blame Ruth for just being fucked up like that. I just can't.
Yeah. And Ruth, she's absolutely superb in this show.
Yeah, she's great.
Just brilliant. Like all the characters, they've reached HBO level status with this show.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you sat back and actually thought about everything logically, the whole show would fall apart. But I don't care. The drama was just that good.
So good. They could have fucked him up a little more when he got kidnapped to Mexico. It would have been better. I wanted him to come back all fucked up.
Yeah, but that's not the whole point of that, was it?
I know, but it's more for the sake of Wendy, to see part of the consequence of her actions.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even spoken about the lawyer, right? I mean, that was a great addition to the cast this season. But
she was always there, though. She wasn't new.
She was always there, but she was like literally part of the cast.
Yeah,
right?
Lot
she was
bigger.
like in every episode. She was in the Ozark. She was living there.
But again, it just shows you when you've got that hunger, that appetite for ascension, it bites you in the arse, man. It all comes back.
Yeah.
And it came back. For her.
And then you have that like that final. You're kind of like you're looking at the clock. You're thinking there's only 6 minutes left. That's at least 2.5 minutes for credits. What the fuck's going to happen?
Boom.
And then it happens.
By our guys,
did not see that coming.
Yeah. And their reaction to it. And he hugs them.
But the way he just does it, the way like blood just splatters all over them, and he goes and hugs them, and he goes, "Hello, come here."
Jesus, where can they keep going from this, man? I hope they have a plan, like a proper plan for how this is supposed to conclude. Because I hate for this just to be something that just falls apart and they just start kind of rushing and throwing shit together. Like, I want it to be a planned ending, man.
All I know is it's been a long wait from season. Because I don't think season 2 was last year, was it? Was season 2 last year?
It was a pretty big gap, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while, I think, and because obviously all the things are happening in the world, I think it's going to be a long wait till season 4.
I think there was a big gap because Bateman's got the other HBO show that he was filming.
Oh, The Insiders or whatever it is. Yeah. The Outsiders. The Others. Something like that.
Something. It's supposed to be good though. I might have to hunt that one up. But yeah, good show, great show.
Yeah, just superb.
Random one.
Yep.
Actually, what do I rate? I didn't even rate all these things. Future Man, 3 stars. Overall, because of how it ended. Incredibles, 4 stars. Just love it. So much fun. Ozark, 4.5. Then randomly, what's little childhood favorite more?
What?
You might have this in your collection of Blu-rays. If you don't, it might be worth picking up. Say his name 3 times and he appears.
Candyman.
Oh, that's 5 times, isn't it?
Was it? Hold on. I know this one. Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton.
Get it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. For some reason, I just saw it on the list. I thought, let me watch Beetlejuice. Yeah. Good old early Tim Burton. You know, it's still a fun film.
I remember watching this film so many times when it premiered on Sky Movies, like at the tail end of the 80s.
Wow.
You know, like it would be on like every other day.
Yeah. And I remember being that film that everyone always has to do a double take once they realize that Michael Keaton, the same guy who was Batman? No way. Because that's such a good performance, man. Even just watching now, you just think, fuck. He's never done this before or since.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And I think that was probably quite early Winona Ryder as well.
Yeah, she was like, what, 17, I think? If not younger.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
just
a whole bunch of people. Yeah, worth digging out.
Has it stood the test of time?
I reckon it has. You know, obviously some of the effects are a little ropey, like the sort of no man's land outside the house where it's just all sand dunes and there's that worm rolling around. Some of that looks a bit funny, but still, it's still a well put together show, a film, and it's worth a little add to addition if you don't already have it.
Oh, I might have to go and find out what sort of Blu-rays for that are out.
Yes. And the last thing, which I just finished watching before, called Mortal Kombat: Scorpion's Revenge.
Once a generation, the finest warriors must do battle to decide the fate of their realm. I, Shang Tsung, welcome you to Mortal Kombat.
If Shao Kahn wins this tournament, Earth as you know it will cease to exist.
Let Mortal Kombat begin!
I will win this tournament.
Let's see what you've got.
What is it you want?
To seek my revenge.
Scorpion, get over here! Really?
We ain't gonna never stop.
Liu Kang.
Good luck on the catches.
Sub-Zero.
We ain't gonna never stop.
Sonya.
Good luck on the catches.
Johnny Cage.
Here's Johnny. Goro. Finish him.
The animated one.
Yes. I'm surprised you didn't watch this, Mo.
I thought I'd wait to see what your thoughts of this were.
I like it.
The clip that I saw looked like it was a snuff movie.
Yes, that's why I like it. They did not hold back like that. Yeah. That was something I was worried about. I was thinking, yeah, Warner Brothers animation. It's just gonna be some kids thing. No, it must have been some agreement in the NetherRealm Studios when they let Warner Brothers do this. It was like, yeah, you're gonna do this. You're doing it for real. We're advising you how to do it because they went in like. Fatalities, so many fatalities are in this. People getting slashed and diced, and skulls are getting ripped open, and eyeballs. It's just crazy. It's so crazy, man.
Is it so crazy that after a while it just gets boring, or
they do it in a good way?
Yeah,
I think like it actually has a good choreography for an animated action little short film thing. Well, short film. It's like what 80 minutes. No, because it has a story that works. It's pretty simple. It's pretty close to the game, but it works in the sense that you like the characters, so you want to see them kick ass. You want to see Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage go ham on all these demons and just do all the crazy shit they're doing to them. You want to see Scorpion get his revenge. Especially how it begins. You see with him, with his son and his wife, and all the shit that goes down from there. You're on his side. You want to see him just dish out brutality.
So is it worth a rental then?
Yeah, which we know you're not going to do anyway. You're just going to download it. Admit it, Mo. Come on.
No, I wouldn't. I would rent the movie.
You're rubbish. But yeah,
I'd like to give back.
Sure. It's a fun 80 minutes.
Yeah, I do like that. I like a movie that doesn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah, simple story, but an enjoyable one nevertheless. A lot better than most of the last, DC animated movies that have come out recently. This is way better. Yeah.
What would you give it?
I'll go 3.5. But an enjoyable 3.5. Thumbs up.
Right, so last couple of episodes we've spoken about like how things might be different after Corona.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like cinema chains. So AMC, theater chain in the US, are basically rumors have it, or not even rumors, we are now starting to see that they're basically trying to get the lawyers in to start putting the company into administration. So they may potentially be going bankrupt and might not be around. That ends up you'll get a lot of people become unemployed.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, a lot of these cinemas could just disappear.
So they haven't already let their employees go yet? So they've been paying out all those wages?
So, I don't know. I think in the US, there's a very similar thing to what's going on here. Like, if you put them on furlough, like the government, I think is helping out with, like, paying for people. But essentially, it looks like this company is about to go down the tubes because they can't. They probably have to pay a lot of rent to a lot of the cinemas that they have.
Yeah,
apparently, some of the cinemas that they have are in locations that are so sort of like remote, not remote, but like basically tickets could be like $1. They're in those sort of locations, so they aren't making a huge amount of money anyway.
How many more? Like, what about over here? Like, I wonder. You don't really hear about how things like Cineworld and Odeon are doing.
No, because I guess here. Obviously, we have that scheme where the government are asking people not to be fired, but to put on furlough, and then they'll cover their like wages up to 80%.
Have they actually given that money out yet? Because a lot of stuff of people, a lot of businesses not receiving that money yet.
Well, I don't know how that works. How quickly they process it? It wouldn't surprise me if there's like a huge software engineering issue that probably needs to be ironed out before they can pay it out.
Yeah, I heard stateside it's a fucking mess. Like a lot of those banks are just keeping the money that they were given and just keeping it for themselves and not giving out to businesses. Like fucked up.
But in some more happy news, we've seen the first pictures or images from the new Dune movie.
Yeah, baby. Denis Villeneuve's take on Dune. First half, he negotiated 2 films, agreed that he would only do one as long as he could guarantee there'd be a second one straight afterwards. And if you know the story you're doing, these pictures you can see, you kind of recognize each of the characters, and you can see the tone of it. And I'm excited, man. Grown up sci-fi back in the cinema.
Are you excited? Do you remember watching the original Dune?
Yeah, I actually watched it about a month ago.
Oh bloody hell!
Yeah.
and you're still excited.
That's not the original, Mo. The book's in the original. There's also a mini series that Sci-Fi did, which was also a lot of fun. Like these are the foundation. That abomination of a movie, which, you know, if there's some charm in it, but not entirely. But that's not what you judge Dune on.
No, I mean the images themselves look good, right? If I didn't know that was Dune, that would just look like a movie where people are like in the desert.
Yeah, I'm curious to how they're gonna add flair and sparkle to the whole thing when a lot of it will be in the desert. So they're gonna have to really get creative, which you know Villeneuve can do. Because come on, man, that last Blade Runner, gorgeous. He did some.
All
cool
I'm
films.
just thinking is the spice work.
Shut up.
Is that from the book, or is that something they added in the movie?
No, that is in the book. Spice, the thing that enables space travel.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing a trailer. I won't get quite excited yet because I've never read the books. And that film, I just remember watching it as a child, just thinking, "What the fuck is this?"
I'm surprised you never read these or got into these because you do. You know, you like to read. You read the Game of Thrones books, and these like good grown-up hard sci-fi things. So I would have thought these would be right up your alley.
Never read the Dune books.
Yeah, trailer shouldn't be far away now that they're putting out these images. There've been like rumors that the trailer was coming, so it could be just a week or two away.
Do you think that they would show a trailer now, or do you think they would wait until like?
Well, they're releasing images, so that means, you know, they're starting.
That's getting a little bit of hype, but getting a trailer out there is you're essentially spending marketing budget at that point.
Not really. If you're just putting it online, not really spending to put it in cinemas.
Yeah, I guess so. But then you're probably starting the hype cycle. It's so far in advance.
It's November, isn't it?
Well, we don't know what the hell's going to happen by November.
Most of the big films, they've been pushed back till next year. So right now, it's still pretty open for them. Cinema should be open by then. Maybe. Would
people actually want to go to cinemas at that point?
Dumb people will. People who won't want to watch this, so probably not.
So I saw something quite interesting doing the rounds in the press, I think earlier this week, about Splash. Do you remember this movie with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks?
Of course, I loved it as a kid.
Have you watched it like on Disney Plus now?
No, I haven't, but I did see the clip of this, what they did.
Yeah, so obviously Disney Plus and Disney being a very family-orientated and child-friendly company have censored the movie Flash. So there is a scene where Daryl Hannah is running into the sea from the beach, and in the original, her hair is dangling down, but you can kind of see the bottom half of her bottom, right?
Yeah, the hair stops at mid-back.
Yeah. So you actually see the full,
you just see her ass.
Bottom, right?
But it's just an ass. Everyone has one. What's wrong?
And in this new on Disney Plus, they've censored that. And what they've done is they've used CGI, I guess, have they? Or is it a pasting copy job? They've essentially extended her hairdo all the way.
But it looks bad. It makes it look like her ass is hairy. It looks like she's got a tail or something. It just looks weird. But the hypocrisy of this, is that in Thor Ragnarok, the friggin' Hulk, there's a scene where he gets out the shower and you see his ass, and that hasn't been censored. Like, why does Daryl Hannah's ass have to be censored, but the Hulk's ass doesn't?
And that is a question you should ask for Mike. I bet you should actually tweet that at him.
It is it's such a stupid thing. And it was one of these little things I was a little bit worried about. Like, are they going to start cutting out little things where people get their heads chopped off? But then you kind of forget that over there, violence is fine. It's the sex that they're little worried about. And the art apparently translates as sex.
This is also obviously the company that famously turned down Back to the Future.
What next?
I was actually just listening to this next story earlier on today. So Disney is developing a remake of their animated classic Robin Hood with a director of Blind Spot.
I think that's supposed to be Train Spotting.
I was thinking, what the hell is
actually no, it can't be Train Spotting. Blind Spotting. I actually cut and paste the title, but I might have to look this one up more because That really don't make no sense.
No, it doesn't at all. I don't know what blind spotting is. Blindsiding? Yep.
Bear with us, guys, while we look at this. It's about an hour. I can cut this up.
No, there is a movie called Blind Spotting.
Oh.
It's directed by Carlos Lopez Estrada.
Is it highly rated?
It's a 7.4 on IMDb, 94 on Rotten Tomatoes, and 77 on Metacritic.
No, yep, it's definitely that one.
Never ever heard of this director before.
What a reporter. So yeah, this is the Robin Hood, which is animals. So it's like the fox is Robin Hood, and there's a hound, and all these different animals playing the various characters, Sheriff of Nottingham. But what's interesting is that they want to make this in an animal. I think they described it as anamorphic animals. So I guess it's going to be similar to what they did with Lion King. So that's going to be weird.
They need to go more cartoony.
Yeah, but Lion King did good, real good. I'm not sure how Lady and the Tramp did for them on Disney Plus, but I guess that's the way they want to go with it, man. Just talking animals.
I guess the younger generation who weren't around to see these originals, and this is an old one as well.
Yeah.
I remember renting this one when I was a child in the 80s.
This is one of their ones which are like in the vault, I think that's why you never really saw it around much. It wasn't even played on telly that much because they used to lock films away back in the day.
Yeah, they're just going for it, right? They're just remaking everything, like every couple of generations.
Yeah,
they'll remake it. The next time it'll probably be like the holographic version.
Yeah, this is one of the ones where people are going to be like, a lot of people. I think it's not even just kids now. I think people all the way up into their 20s probably have never seen this.
Oh, quite possibly. Yeah. Because like I said, it is an old film.
Yeah, but how the hell are they going to still have the costumes? Is he still going to have like a bow and arrow? Like, that's the madness of this.
Oh, it's going to have to, right? It's not Robin Hood without like, the costume and the arrow.
That's true. You can't just have foxes running around doing that.
No, they can't make this hyper realistic, right? Because when they start talking,
but
it's just going to be weird.
You saw Lion King, didn't you?
I did.
They talked.
I don't know, man. I guess because all the animals, well, I know when all the animals weren't the same there either, but in this you will have a ragtag crew of lots of different animals.
It's going to be weird. What's left for them to do? I'm surprised. We thought it was going to be something like Hunchback of Notre Dame, something that's simple to do.
They'll probably get around to that at some point.
Yeah.
But this is not a theatrical release, right? It's going straight to Disney Plus.
That I don't know. Right? It depends. If they go to the level of Lion King, then I think this will be a big one for.
Yeah.
Because you can't imagine that Lady and the Tramp was pretty simple. They were just dogs, and they weren't really doing anything elaborate. Just dogs running around. This, I feel like, it's going to be a bit more out there. So I think this could be a theatrical one.
Right. Our next story. Very, very interesting, right? So we've got Martin Scorsese. Obviously, he's like a renowned director.
Renowned waster of money.
Wow. He had problems with his last movie getting greenlit with the studio, so ended up going to Netflix, who did, I've forgot the name of the film already now.
The Irishman.
He's having the same problem now. So originally he went to Paramount to make this movie called The Killer of the Flower Moon. And he essentially said that this will be $165 million. That budget has now ballooned to $200 million. Now, this is like a period piece, right? So it's set like in Oklahoma in the 1930s. And if you kind of think about it, it doesn't actually need that huge a budget, right? It's essentially set out in the middle of nowhere. You're not like building like city sets. You're not building like all this extravagant CGI stuff.
Yeah, you just need like a town that there still exist towns which look pretty similar to what they were.
Exactly.
Just a few vehicles and the costumes.
For like a Martin Scorsese movie to cost more than $100 million.
Unless he wants to do what he did with Irishman and just get his old acting buddies from that are all in their 60s now and de-age them again. Like maybe it's just to the point. Maybe it's just at the point that he just doesn't care about hiring any young talent anymore. He just wants to work with his old buddies.
So this one's definitely got Leonardo DiCaprio in it because obviously he's the lead.
Yeah.
But like at some point you've got to like weigh up like if it is to do all that like fancy little de-aging, versus the cost of the movie, right? Paramount obviously is not in a good state. They're not going to take a risk. Plus, if you're spending $200 million on a movie, you're going to expect 450 back, right? If you think Wolf of Wall Street, phenomenal film, right? Fantastic movie, made $480 million at the box office.
Damn. That's it. People don't want to see real films anymore.
Yeah.
Sad.
And and so I can totally understand that from Paramount's point of view. So they're now so Scorsese is now shopping this round to like Netflix and to Apple. The man who like really bemoaned people watching movies on phones, one who like probably really cares about shooting on film and showing in the theater.
You get desperate, man.
It's such a difficult one, right? Because The Irishman was still such a good movie, so he's still got it. He's still got what it takes to make a good movie, but it's so difficult to understand like the business sense on this.
Yeah, sure. Like the fact, what you can't do it even with 100 mil would be a lot, but still, like truly, you gotta be that crazy.
200 mil, you're talking like Marvel superhero movie style, right? And that's the big one. You're talking like Endgame or something.
Just constant CGI in every shot. Like, it just don't make sense.
Yeah, so that absolutely doesn't make sense at all. I do wonder if there is this waste culture in the movie business, because I'm sure like you could go in there and you could probably make these movies for a lot less than like what people are making films for at the moment.
But then you'd expect that to be from a young director, someone new who just wants to just do crazy shit in every shot.
No,
but Scorsese,
a young director would be like very you'd imagine they would be very fiscally responsible, right? It's their first film, they've got to do it on the cheap.
But Scorsese, he was never a flashy director. How much do most of his old movies cost? They're probably in the 10-20 million bracket.
Oh yeah. I'd imagine that it was only I think Wolf and Wall Street looks like an expensive film because of all the talent that's in it. But yeah, I can't imagine most of like his 80s and 90s output were that expensive.
Crazy. What's this last one?
So Netflix orders a Korean zombie series. All of Us Are Dead, right? And the reason I put this down is imagine like a zombie show from Korea set in a high school, where basically all the kids are trapped. And this reminds me, on Netflix a few years ago, there used to be a Japanese anime called High School of the Dead, I think, which was all about like these kids trapped in a school, which was just brilliant. It was just brutal and violent, and I just absolutely loved it.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
Oh yeah, it only ran for like 13 episodes. It had a lot of fan service in it. So like one of the characters, what should we say, was ridiculously endowed.
Okay.
Yeah, so it had like a few of those. I mean, you never really saw that stuff, but it was just like they had silly things like that in it. But the actual show, I thought it was fantastic. And the fact that they've just done that, The Kingdom, which seems to something that's resonated with audiences. I still haven't seen it yet. I hear it's very, very good. This gets me quite excited.
Yeah, still a couple of episodes of that to finish off. But yeah, Kingdom's one. Yeah. This could be. It depends on the tone. It depends how seriously they take it, or whether they go with comedy. Which you never know with Japan. They can go either way.
Korean.
Oh, it's Korean.
Yeah. They do like their melodrama.
Yeah.
And
probably more serious.
Yeah. And they can throw in a bit of comedy in their melodrama as well to like balance it all out.
Yeah, there's actually a Korean movie, TV show on Netflix that I actually want to check out. It's about a guy who becomes like a cyborg or something. I keep seeing it about the place.
I think that might be in my list.
Yeah.
I think I know the one anyway. Did you get my message the other day from about the Korean movies?
No, what was this?
So one of our listeners has, wrote in a few messages over Instagram.
Yes. Forgot to write my list.
Terrible.
I can do off the head.
Right. Okay. Shall I get through the superhero news and then we can go in?
Yeah. That's right.
Right. So superhero news. So I think we'd obviously heard about this before, but Sam Raimi has now come out and confirmed that he is indeed directing the sequel to Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Is it Doctor Strange and the Madness of the Multiverse or something?
Multiverse of Madness or something like that, yeah.
Brilliant news. Love the fact that it's come out and confirmed it, and we know that's going to be happening.
Yeah, it's I can't wait. And apparently he made a joke about Doctor Strange back in Spider-Man 2. So he's kind of laughing at how ironic it is that he's finally getting to actually do a Doctor Strange movie.
Finally coming back and doing it like properly.
And I like that he's honest as well. Most filmmakers and directors, whenever they take on a project or actors, they always say that character is their favorite character. Like I like, well, the other one, this was the one that I always loved as a kid. Yeah. Sam Raimi's like, nah, I wasn't really a Doctor Strange guy. It was like number 5 in my list. Behind Batman and Spider-Man.
I don't think most people don't know who fucking Doctor Strange was, probably, right? Until they put him in a Marvel film.
That's true, that.
I mean, you say Doctor Strange, you'd think that would actually be a villain.
Yeah, the name was.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And finally, we've got The Flash. Warner Brothers are reportedly prepared to move forward without Ezra Miller, if need be.
Yeah, some dude on Twitter, I think Uz was sending me this. He's reputable. His reputation's 70% positive, shall we say? Where he said that the early news is that they want to do this Flash movie, and basically at the end of it all, it will only be Aquaman and Wonder Woman will be the last original Justice League members left, and it will merge various universes, also bring in the Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman. So it's that shit that makes me feel like this has to be bullshit, because I cannot imagine Batman, the current new Batman, being part of the DCU. But this guy seems to think that's the case, and also with the resetting everything they can switch out actors and it makes it easier. But
I guess it's a no-brainer that Warner Brothers want to do a Flash movie, right? That's going to happen at some point.
But they push it back so much, it makes you feel like they're just not really that into it. They had a script done last year, and they've kind of threw that one out the window, and they've gotten rid of directors. And
maybe they weren't happy with the script. Maybe there was a lot of friction on the set between the director and Miller. And now that this thing has popped up, this is probably a great way for them to get rid of this guy.
Yeah,
because you can't have like your $200 million budget movie associated with a guy who's been videotaped, like basically grabbing some woman by the throat and
get rid of him. Definitely.
Exactly. That movie would just be boycotted by that sort of movement that boycotts those sort of things.
Yeah.
Flash movie will happen at some point. I don't know whether we'll still be alive when that goes into production and comes out, but it will happen.
Probably not.
So, we have our buddy, Kamran, who's often mails us on the show. And hold on, let me get to...
Yeah, he sent a message on YouTube as well, wanting us to do reactions. Kind of hard with us being all over the place, dude. But even then, one of the reasons why I stopped doing it on the First Take YouTube is that it just became such a headache with copyright strikes, and it damages the channel, and you can't monetize, or you can't post videos that are longer than like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and it's just always a headache because some of these companies, they always want to just give you strikes and take money from you. It's just not worth it.
And those are all of Eddie's excuses for why he doesn't want to do something.
Well, you're free to do it, Mo. I'll give you the login.
Mate, I've never done like YouTube stuff.
There you go, get started.
And I don't think I'll ever bother. I think the bottom has now fallen out of that market. So he says, guys, can you add a top 10 discussion to the podcast? I think our podcast run for a very long time as it is, and I'm not entirely sure what he means by add a top 10. Is that top 10 of something every single week?
You can do that.
No. He goes, he's been watching a bunch of Korean movies and wants to know what your top 10 Korean movies are. He did say top 10. I thought 10 would be a lot. So that's hence why I texted you guys the other day and said, let's do a top 5.
All right.
So, shall I go with my top 5 first?
How much have I got? I got 1, 2, 3. Thinking on my head. 4. Okay, go on, Mo.
Right, so in number 5, I have Train to Busan.
Okay. Have you seen the trailer to the new one?
I have seen the trailer.
Full trailer.
Looks just as crazy, doesn't it?
It does. But doesn't it feel a bit more like generic action movie a bit though?
Well, I mean, I will serve that till the actual film itself comes out. Hopefully it's just an early trailer. The next trailer they release hopefully will be a little bit more in keeping with the original.
Yeah. But yeah, great film. A lot of fun. Real suspenseful. I love it.
Do you want to do your number 5, or should I do my whole one so you can then copy my list?
I'll do my number 5. Damn. Granted, guys, I'm doing this off of pure memory. But my number 5 for Korean movies is First, a Park Chan-wook movie. He's my favorite Korean director, probably number 2 overall in terms of directors I love after Tarantino. And First, it's a vampire story with a twist. But I love this movie so much. Just the way he directs, what he does with the camera, the characters of this priest who becomes infected with the virus and begins to turn and falls in love with this woman. I don't want to get so deep into it. You gotta watch it. But First, great movie. Came out in 2009 or 8, probably in Korea. But it's a great movie. I love it.
Yeah. My number 4.
Have you ever seen them all?
I haven't. I've never even heard of it, actually.
Right.
But the Korean cinema is something that I used to follow, but it's something that I've not done in quite a long time. But they do have some absolutely fantastic films.
Yeah.
And it's something that generally tends to get overlooked because obviously in Hong Kong you've got like all those sort of like action films, whereas the Korean ones are a lot more sort of like drama orientated. Number 4, having said that, it's an action movie of sorts, Fighter in the Wind.
Oh.
Do you remember that film?
Yes.
I absolutely love like the mythos around like the character. So this is obviously a biographical movie about essentially what they call is like the most toughest man in the world.
Yeah, big myth has been born out around this guy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there hasn't ever been a proper documentary about him if it was all this crazy.
Well, the fact I love the way that the movie ends. Right, they go once he's run out of like people to fight, he started like fighting like animals.
I know that has to be bullshit. That has to be bullshit. Like you'd expect to hear so much more of this, but apparently the character of Ryu was inspired by this individual.
Absolutely, it was. Yeah,
this makes it even more crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to echo that more. I have to echo that.
You can actually see that like in the movie itself, right? He's even got like that dirty white tee with the sleeveless top.
Yeah, he never takes off. Walks around barefoot half the time.
Yeah.
A bag. Yeah. I echo in that one. That's number 4 for me as well. Love it. Fire in the Wind.
Okay. So my number 3, and you might be shocked by its low ranking, Parasite.
Okay. Pretty new. Is it settled in your brain yet? Is it something that you've only watched once? Have you watched it more than that?
I will be watching it again. It's very fresh in my mind. It's something that they've now just announced coming out on a 4K disc, so I'll be waiting to get a copy of that.
Sure. The American remake, the HBO remake isn't going to suddenly surplus it and make it pale in comparison.
Like change it.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, why have they done this now? They're ruining something that was really good.
Yeah, Parasite's a great one. My number 3 is My Sassy Girl.
Oh,
you forgot about that.
I love this movie.
I don't usually go for the whole K-dramas, but this has a bit of more of a rom-com vibe about it. Apparently, this is a true story as well, wasn't it?
No, it's not a true story.
I thought it's based on a book, which is based this is his experience for real.
Yeah, wasn't the guy just writing like short stories about a girl that he knew?
Well, doesn't that make it inspired by a true story then? If it's a girl that he knew.
I'm actually trying to remember if what I've just said is actually true. I know it was based on like over there they have like those short novel things, don't they? Like anime books or whatever. I actually can't remember if this is actually based on an actual person.
Oh yeah, I'm looking it up now. The film is based on a true story.
True story.
Yeah.
Well, someone had like the most amazing love affair then.
That chick's crazy then. Well, she sounds bipolar. Oh. Yes, My Sassy Girl. If you guys have never seen it,
yeah,
such
watch
a good
it.
film, man.
And he's not turning into like a hormonal woman or anything. It is actually an absolutely fantastic, just brilliant Korean movie.
Put a smile on your face. You'll fall in love with the girl or the guy, depending on your perspective on the whole thing. But
in fact, last year I imported the special director's edition when they finally got around to putting it out on Blu-ray.
Did they do anything as elaborate as they did with the DVD version you've got?
No, so it is quite nice packaging, but the DVD one, the packaging, like, it is a lot nicer.
They don't do that shit with the Blu-rays no more. Why?
They only really do that, like, that was something that they really went out and about in Korea, but I think it's that the whole market is just shrunk dramatically, right?
But wouldn't that make people buy it more then? More likely if you make it more special and...
Potentially. I mean, some places still do like these mad like special editions, but I guess even the market for that is probably shrunk.
Yeah. Whose turn is it? It's your turn.
So my number 2 is Old Boy.
Number 2. Oh, controversial. Controversial.
One of the most classic movies to come out of like South Korea since like their cinema really sort of like took off from like in the late 90s.
Yeah. Yep. Great film.
What's your number 2 then?
My number 2, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. You know what? I've never actually watched that.
I love this film. I love it.
Yeah.
It's strange because it's a Western. And you think, a Korean Western? Do they even have a West to be a Western? Like, there's no. Yeah, well, I don't think it's even based in Korea. You know, I don't think it is. I think it is in America.
It's America then.
Yeah. But it's a crazy film, man. It is nuts. It is inspired by the original Sergio Leone, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and all of that, but has its own twist.
Is it a very serious movie, or is it like a drama with like comedy in it?
Yes, that.
The drama with comedy.
Yeah. Some very cool action, some unassuming action, things that kick off, and they just some insane camera work during those scenes. Like you think, how the fuck did they shoot that?
Yeah.
It's funny as hell. You'll notice most of the lead actors in it. But yeah, it's just a cool film. 2008. Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
Good stuff.
Love it.
My number 1, drum roll. My Sassy Girl.
Oh.
That is my absolute favorite Korean movie that I've ever seen. I loved it the first time I've watched it. I've watched it countless times over the years, and it's just absolutely superb. I could go on and on about this film.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I would like to dig it up and watch it again.
I think the last time I watched it was probably about 2015.
Wow, I'm looking at my list up here. I even got it. And annoyingly, I'm looking at my shelf with my old DVDs.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a bunch of Korean films which I forgot about, which I could have done a top 10, so easily.
You probably could have, yeah.
So easily. All right. So my number 1, dude.
Yep.
Obviously.
I guess it's Old Boy.
Old Boy. It is the best. Shame on you, Mo. I know My Sassy Girl is great, but pure unadulterated filmmaking, Old Boy is just perfection.
So it's been a while since I've seen Old Boy. Having said that, again, last year I bought the 4K disc that just came out, so I am meaning to go and revisit that classic. So my opinion could change, but I don't think anything can dethrone My Sassy Girl.
Yeah, My Sassy Girl leaves you with that nice, warm feeling in your chest at the end of it. Like, you just sit there while the credits are rolling up with a big smile on your face thinking, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, I went out and actually watched quite a lot of that director's films after that. So I've seen things like The Classic and Windstruck, and I'm forgetting the names of some of the other ones now, but he had like a whole series where he done these sort of like quirky sort of romantic films.
Yeah. But Old Boy, man, like I said, the director, he's it's the master, Park Chan-wook.
Part of that Vengeance trilogy.
Yes, all of which are great films, which all could have been in my list.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't think I could ever watch like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance again, because that is just one depressing film.
But it's good.
Literally, like, if you watch that, like, if you were, like, you know, in a real sort of, like, down, depressed sort of state, that could be enough just to, like, push you over the edge.
Over. Did you ever watch Lady Vengeance?
I have seen Lady Vengeance, and there's only there's two scenes that stand out in my mind, and they're both sexy. There's the bit at the beginning where, like, the wife is just being used by the husband at the breakfast table, and then she goes to prison, and she's basically forced to, like, perform oral sex on, like, one of the other prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I remember about that film.
All great films, but yeah, if you've never watched Old Boy, stay away from the friggin' American remake with Josh Brolin.
Stay away from the Bollywood one as well.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah, stay away from those because they would ruin. Have you ever seen the Bollywood one? Has they got the same ending?
I have not. No, I can't imagine it has the same ending because that would be so. It would be so taboo for Indian cinema.
That's the whole point.
It would start riots. We'll have to ask Salim because I'm sure he must have seen it.
But yeah, if you've never seen, stay away from those ones. Watch this, and if you've never been ruined on how it kind of all concludes, strap in and just go along with the ride, man. Because it's one of the most holy fuck. I don't want to even build it up too much. When you got to just go see it if you've never seen it. But yeah, I love
absolutely. It. Yeah. So Kamran also goes on to say, also I watched Ozark season 3, and it's a must-watch. Easily one of the best series this year. So obviously we've just done 2 episodes where we've discussed that in length. Are you guys big on games? Because I played a bunch of choice-based games like Life is Strange, Until Dawn, and the Telltale games. So I think we've spoken about this loads of times, but like story-driven games just don't do it.
Yeah, Mo doesn't like story-driven games. I love watching them. I'm weird in that way. I call myself, and used to have like a little channel which I didn't really put a whole lot of effort in, but it's called Backseat Gamer. Because that's what I am. I like to just sit back, chill with a beer or something and watch someone else play a game. I just get caught up in the story because they're like movies to me. But Mo, he just likes a little crash bang wallop, instant gratification movie.
Exactly.
Game.
I like games like Super Mario, where like basically the story is rescue the princess. That's all you need to know.
It's just a waste though, because he's got good games. He got the Spider-Man game, but he finds it boring.
I got bored very quickly of that.
Characters, Molo, what the hell?
Oh. I've caught up on Westworld, loving it so far, and can we have Dolores be in the next Terminator?
Yes, very much so. Speaking of which, isn't it that time now, Mo?
We got to do that in a second. So he goes on just to say, I have to continue to recommend Better Call Saul. Such a brilliant show. What are you guys doing watching it? I want to hear all 3 of your reviews on the next podcast. I've seen everything apart from the new series, but Eddie, I'm telling you must watch this show. It is really good.
It's too much to watch.
Fantastic.
Got too much.
Well,
yes, I am. I still have to work.
Yeah, but you don't have to travel to work.
Yes, but then I sleep the extra time that I would have been traveling. I'm not getting up earlier. Fuck that.
You have plenty of time now. You can squeeze it in at the weekend. You're not going anywhere.
It's too much. How many seasons? How many? It's like
I think they just started the 5th season, but they're like short seasons. They're like 10 episodes, 13 episodes.
Like I saw the first season, I just didn't enjoy it.
First season, I will admit, it took me about 3 or 4 years to go back.
I just don't care about this guy. I don't care about Saul. I liked him in Breaking Bad, but on his own, I just don't care.
You will, Eddie. You will. You'll watch it, and you will really enjoy it. You will get into it. Trust me. You know, like how you always come and say, I apologize, Mo. This is exactly
I do that too often. I do that too often. I hate that.
This is exactly. You'll come to this. You'll say, Mo, this is even better than Breaking Bad. This really is like a slow burn. It's so intelligent. It's just like
better than Breaking Bad. What's wrong with you?
You know what? Okay, so saying it's better than Breaking Bad, it's probably doing it a injustice, right? Because it's not that kind of show. Like Breaking Bad's not an action show, but there is an action element to it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very sort of like
boring.
It's cerebral. It's very sort of like it's a character piece about Jimmy and how Jimmy becomes Saul. and it's not boring. I can tell you that. You don't go back and watch season 1. Just go straight into season 2, and I'm telling you, within a few episodes, you will be into it. It's like one of those things that seems to have just flown under the radar, and people need to watch this show.
Maybe.
Trust me.
Maybe. All right.
Pour yourself a glass of gin. Go and watch a few episodes.
All right. Thanks, Cameron, for those questions. Hope we answered them mostly to your satisfaction. Actually, what was your top 5, Cameron? You got us to do it. What was yours?
Absolutely. Tell us, what are your favorite Korean movies?
Maybe you saw some new ones which we haven't seen that we kind of need to catch, because I've been missing for a little while from the Korean scene. Except for Park.
Yeah,
I always watch
Korean scene does go up and down. Like sometimes they have this period of where they make a lot of good films.
Yeah.
Last year I bought like the 2-disc set of like The Handmaid's Tale, and I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, I did like that. It is a very slow character, beautiful painting of a movie.
But from what I understand, it's a very interesting movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So let's get into this. Westworld.
I bet you absolutely loved this episode, didn't you?
I'm actually going to admit to you, Mo. Love is not the word.
You want to like have its baby.
No. I found it an interesting episode, but it's not my. It's probably the weakest one for me this week. I have to hands up confess.
I actually had to watch it a second time, or at least half of it a second time, because I lost complete interest the first time I was watching it, and I even fell asleep towards the end.
Wow, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't fall asleep bad.
So they did what I really hate in any show, regardless of like even when Star Trek does this, I really hate it, and it's the episode where someone takes a psychotropic drug, I hate that trope. That's what killed me watching Mr. Robot. They did that episode, and I haven't been back.
I did not like that drug. It's called genre. They didn't even. What they should have done is really set it up better at the beginning. But I just don't like the way that it was directed. I just didn't find it very visually engaging.
Yeah. So it was like, you know, like so I've listened to a lot of like Kevin Smith talking about directors going on to TV shows.
Yeah.
And they don't really direct. They basically are just the project manager for that week, like calling the shots. Because essentially, a TV show has a look and a style that's like basically the same.
Have to be consistent. Yeah.
So this episode, you could tell, was very different because it was almost like a music video. Like it was a music montage type thing. There's a lot of music in it. There was like periods where...
Yeah, but visually they didn't really lean into that aspect. It still looked... you know what? What I think made it weaker, what I think damaged it is the actor, Jesse Pinkman, whatever his name is.
I know. Yeah, well, we just call him Jesse, right? Because I was watching Mission Impossible 2 the other night. Was it number 3? I can't remember which one. I was like, that's Jesse.
He's in Mission Impossible?
It's the voice.
Oh, okay.
He's got a very short scene. I think it's in number 3, actually.
Oh, okay. But I don't think he conveyed being high that well. He kind of seemed, for the most part of it, he just seemed normal. He didn't really change, because like, when I was watching the behind the scenes thing afterwards, they were going on about how he was conveying all these emotions for each different genre which he was in, because basically you switch between different... It's like an injection that goes into your neck, and it plays like a playlist, like a movie. So it changes what you're viewing like a movie. So different music plays, and it changes your experience and your emotional feelings. And they kept saying, oh, he was so excellent, conveying these different feelings of each different genre of music and whatnot. I'm thinking, no, he didn't. He just seemed... He rolled his eyes around for a second, and he just went back to being normal. He didn't really do anything.
Yeah, and he just went on for too long, which is really strange because there was a lot of stuff actually happened in this episode.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to admit, right, I'm probably too stupid to understand fully what's going on here. This whole thing about the fact that they released everyone's records to them, I was just like, so is this the machine predicting like what's going to happen, or is this like a certain fact?
Because don't forget, the machine not only predicts what you're going to do, but it also will push and prod you to make sure you keep going on that path. Like she was saying about with him, it views you as going to a particular level status in life, and you can never get above that. You hit a glass ceiling, and it will keep you there.
Okay, so that's two different things, right? So the one thing is, essentially, you can't make someone do anything, right? Isn't it the whole thing, like, if you go back in time and tell somebody about something, you essentially change the future by them just knowing that?
The practicality of how it can do these things, they don't really get into, but they do say that it will manipulate your world around you to make it so that you'll get a certain job, which will only pay you a certain amount of money, which will only get you to a certain thing and make you meet certain people of the same sort of, economic sort of level. Yeah, it just manipulates your life. Yeah.
So, I don't think it was last week, might have been the week before, I was saying that essentially if you had to explain to somebody what Westworld was, it's very difficult. And I think
Season 1 and 2 weren't. This one is.
Yeah, no, I think this episode actually tells you what Westworld is. And what Westworld is, it's a story about class struggle, right? So essentially the robots or the synths in the first couple of seasons were slaves. Now essentially they've come out and they're telling this kind of other story about like the real world. And I think that's what all this is a metaphor for.
But they're revealing that people who were free in the real world are just as much enslaved as they were in the park.
I don't need to watch a TV show. I already fucking know that. In fact, this pandemic is showing us that, right? Essentially, like, if you can't go out and run the rat race every day, you essentially can't pay your bills.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like one paycheck, unless you're in that like 1%. Of that 1%, you essentially, we're all in this race together, and we've got no choice. We have to do things that we don't want to do.
Yeah, and they also revealed that there are certain people who don't fall within that predictable parameters. Like you saw it with his watch, which showed, and they explained what that circle was that you keep seeing at the beginning of every episode. It's like a solar eclipse, but in negative, in black and white.
Yeah.
And whenever it kind of goes out, like it starts to spread the black on either side, that shows that it's losing the balance, that something is something that can't be predicted by the system. So I guess people who are either crazy, some sort of mental illness, people who are like androids, which you can't really predict for. Rogue ones anyway.
There is something else about him, right? Because there was that scene when that guy got shot. It was like he was trying to remember something, or was like a suppressed memory.
Who?
Pinkman, right? So you see like him walking with a guy with a hooded...
that's his flashback to him being in a war, isn't it? His military background.
Right.
Yeah. I think it might be still the effects of that drug.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really struggled to watch this episode. And in fact, I had to watch the second half again.
So I didn't hate it. I did like it. It did put across interesting ideas, and it progressed the story. It wasn't like just a stagnant filler or anything. But yeah, because of just how they did that whole genre thing, it kind of is my least favorite so far this season.
I think the other thing that needs to be called out is like, I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, but when they have like Bernard on screen, he always looks somehow to like they capture this look like he doesn't know what he's doing.
No, they've really dumbed him down this season. It just doesn't seem like he knows what the fuck he's doing.
And like one moment he's like quite happily complying and doing stuff with that guy, and then his matey boy just runs out like of a closet somewhere, and they start beating up the other guy who essentially wasn't holding him prisoner anyway.
Yeah, he just basically sacrifices himself.
It was just saying, I think you two should leave now.
Oh, that what upset me. They killed what's her face? No, the chick that it was with him when he blew up.
Oh, the French chick.
Yeah, she's so good. Do you know where she's from?
I have no idea where she's from.
She's in Guardians of the Galaxy. She's Mantis.
Oh, is she?
With the alien with you can sense feelings.
What I thought was amazing about her was
gorgeous,
just the face, the clothes, and when you see her walk, she's just got like that kind of like way.
Grace and elegance.
Almost like it's almost. I'm assuming she must do like catwalk stuff as well, right? Because, yeah.
And then blew her up, son of a bitch.
Yeah, but you probably find out she's a robot as well, and another one will.
Oh, they can't do that.
They're all synthetic. That's what we're going to find out.
Yeah. So, what did they? I think there's 3 left.
So that's what IMDb tell us. So I don't know if it is a shorter season, or if they'll add more. Because I think they did that with Picard. They were only like listing like the first 8 at some point, and then it added the 2 during the run.
No, there was a little thing at the end that said 3 more episodes left.
Oh, okay, right.
Oh yeah, 3 more, and then we'll wait
3 more.
2 years.
We got no. We got no Sandy Newton.
No,
who
but she
was also in like one of the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, I remember her. I remember her.
Yeah, holy hell, she was absolutely stunning looking in that movie.
Yeah, back in the day when she was nice and young. Yeah. Don't forget Mission Impossible. Oh, we'll talk too much about that. We'll wait until we get our little review going.
Yeah.
But yeah, still thumbs up. I got a friend of mine to watch The Last Picard. He watched the whole season. I hadn't watched that one. I was curious to know what he would think, and he thought I was disgusted by that episode, dude. And this guy's as big a Trekkie as you are, and he was spitting flames.
Oh yeah, that last episode was terrible.
So bad.
Terrible.
So Mo, how can they get in contact with us if they need to do so?
Right, folks. If you want to email us, we are at tatmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we are at Talking at the Movies. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Talking Movies 3. We're actually, this week, we had a nice little conversation about Dragons Forever. And then people obviously started talking about like other canned movies. So come and join us there. Having a bit of fun at the moment.
Yeah.
I am also putting up loads of like, as I'm watching the Star Trek movie episodes, like any good ones that come along, I'm kind of rating them and leaving some comments.
Yeah, man. Guys, don't forget Voltron Network, 2 words, on YouTube. If you want to listen to the feed of our podcast and DC versus Marvel podcast, both of them we put audio up on there. We'll start doing videos as well. I think Uz has already done one where he's talking about why he can't stand by the DC movies anymore. And he's the DC guy of the DC versus Marvel podcast. And he's disowning the movies now because he just can't take the disgrace and the disrespect that Warner Brothers has shown to DC. Marvel hints. So yeah, guys, from me, the race,
and me, Mo.
See you guys next week. Later.